I'm going to open up the whiteboard and let's see if we can work on the problem there. Okay, so I'm going to draw it out. Let me use a different color. Okay, so remember, this is a non-right triangle. Okay, it's a non-right triangle, so therefore we cannot use so katoa. We will not be able to use that. Okay. We have here 43 degrees. So it's less than 90 this time. This is angle X. This is B. This is C. And this is A. They didn't mark it, but that's A. 2.3 centimeters. cm. And this is 3.5 cm. Okay, so what we're told to do, we have a set of, we have rules, right? We either can use this method. Oh, but should I use A? Is there any A going on in this problem?
No,
That
sir.
it doesn't really matter. But just to follow, just to be logical, because I know some of you are really trying to grasp the concept. And so for some people, following all the rules possible will be helpful. So I'm going to do that. So we won't just put any letter there. We're going to put the appropriate letter. And so we're going to put a B, right? Because our problem has a B equals, and that will be over what? Tell me, guys. Sine of what? Sine of B, right? So this would be the way I would go if I was looking for the length B, but don't we have the length already? We have that, right? So we don't want it, we don't want to set it up like this, okay, guys? What we're gonna do, we're gonna put the little b at the bottom because we have that already. So we're not looking for that. You only put on the top the things you're looking for. Right now, I don't know what B is, so I'm gonna put that at the top, okay, guys? And now, this is equal to sine of C over little c. Now, what do we know here? So let's look. We know, well, we don't know what the B is. So let's just put X there in place of B, because that's an unknown. So we put X there, right? And we know what B is. B is 2.3. And notice I'm not worrying too much about the CM and those things in my working. I'll focus on that at the end if necessary, but in this case it won't be because we're dealing with degrees, okay? But I'm gonna behave myself and put CM, okay? Because there are students that really need me to do that. Okay, so what next? Okay, sine of 43. That's my angle for C. Okay. And that is over, what does 43 correspond to, guys? What length?
3.5 centimeter.
Excellent. Excellent. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. So there we go. Now, some of you say, but sir, why can't we just cross multiply? Bada bing, bada boom. You can. It may lead to some more working, okay? And that's what we want to avoid. We want to avoid that extra working. So you can cross multiply. It just will lead to some extra working. All right. But the best way to solve this problem is to multiply both sides by the number in the denominator here. We're going to multiply both sides by 2.3. And now you know the reason that teachers do this and how you end up with sine of x by itself. The 1 is right here. The 1 is right there. It's actually saying 1 sine x, but do we write that? No, we don't write it. And whatever you do on one side, you do on the other side. So if I multiplied by 2.3 on the left-hand side, I got to do the same thing on the right-hand side. Okay. Now, what is sine of 43? Let's check our calculators, guys. Let's look up sine of 43. For me, I have to type in 43 first and then press sine. I got the old school calculators. You guys probably have the new ones where you just press sine and then the 43 and then press enter. Okay, so what do I get? Let's go to 3 decimal places. I got 0.682. You see how I got the 2? 682. Anybody can explain how I got 2 there? Because the original decimal round off. Go ahead.
So you skip the 1, sir, and then the number after the 1 was more than 5?
Very good. I like that explanation. Good job. All right, so now I have my 2.3 still up there. It hasn't gone anywhere. It's still there. It's at the top, actually. Check it out. See how I'm fixing this thing up? Because remember, there's a 1 under there. So I multiplied my numerators, and there we go. And underneath is still that 3.5. He hasn't gone anywhere. But notice I'm slowly breaking down my problem. Slowly, I'm finding out the ingredients of this, of what's going on in this, right? Okay, so now, what is 0.682 times 2.3? That's my next question. So you're always asking yourself questions when you do math. Okay. So times. I hope everybody's following along and enjoying yourself while you're doing this, right? You got to enjoy what you're doing, or else it's not worth doing. So make sure you're enjoying this lesson, okay? So where are we? I got 1.5686. Anybody got something different? 1.5.
I get the same thing, sir.
Okay, 686. And this is over 3.5. So we haven't gotten rid of that 3.5 yet, but it's gonna go now. It's gonna go now. So let's do that. Let's divide by 3.5 and see what we get.
Sir, that'd be 0.448.
All right, 448. Excellent. You went to 3 decimal places. Excellent. That's a pretty good standard to always take it to while you're doing your working, okay? And then at the end, we either go to 1 decimal place or round to the nearest degree. So 0.448, right? Okay. Now remember, out here is sine of x. And x represents the angle that we want. So guess what we have to do? We have to find the inverse of sine. To do that, So let me write it. This is how you write it mathematically, but most of the work will be on your calculator. Careful of your mics,
¿A
guys.
quién le llamo?
I can hear you. I can hear somebody had their mic on just now. Okay, so here we go. So we got the inverse of sine. Now for me, with my old school calculator, I'll tell you how I do it, okay? And it's probably the same calculator on your phone, right? A lot of them are not scientific, or they're scientific, but they take the old style of doing things. So here's what I have to do. I have to type in 0.448. And then I have to go to my second key and then press sine. And I got 26.6. 26.6. That's the one decimal place. That's the 1 dp. But if I want to go to my nearest degree, which the problem is written to the nearest degree, it is not written with decimal places. So I will put it to 27 degrees. Are you guys okay with that? You see how this was 43? It didn't have like a point. So because of that, that kind of tells me how I should put my answer. Unless the problem tells you otherwise. I mean, if CXC says, hey, we want our answer to 1 decimal place, just ignore that this is a 43. You understand? Follow the instructions. But if there is no instruction on how you should present your final answer, then use what you've learned. Okay, and what you've learned is that you look at the problem and it tells you how to write your final answer. Okay, so my final answer for today, because there was no like condition, is 27 degrees.